Today, we are back talking about the CS market, and of course, essentially everything in the market is down massively yet again. The Karambit Phase 3s and Phase 4s down to about 2,400. I sold mine at 3,600 just a few days ago, but now is not the time to brag because I want to talk about when you guys could get good entries. I want to talk about some high-tier skins, some low-tier skins, and things that you should be taking advantage of when this dip is over because we seemingly are getting very close to it, and I think it's going to happen potentially in the next week if we continue at this rate. So, first off, I kind of covered this in previous videos, but I want to talk about it with more high-end items, specifically like rubies, for example, and phase 2s, of course, because I've had very similar price trends. With high-tier items like this, once again, as I've said in 100 videos, they consolidate for long times and then blow up when the hype spikes happen. These items, rubies, phase 2s, some high-tier items, but they don't move nearly as much percentage-wise in price. Mostly the phase 2s and Dopplers do. Just blow up. And rubies and phase 2s blow up like disproportionately. Phase 2s, from bottoms all the way back in like late 2023, 4x'd in price and 2x'd from just the beginning of this year at bare minimum. Rubies, almost 2x'd from just the beginning here. And rubies and other high tier skins are really solid because they really just maintain these high levels for very long times, and they're always going to because they're in cases that are continually getting more expensive, and that's something I'll cover later on in the video. So when this chart comes all the way back down to pre-hype levels, and for the Stellado Ruby, for example, still got about $500 to go. That could happen tomorrow at this point, but still got about $500 to go. This is the level you buy at. This is essentially the no-risk level. This is a level you hold at for a very long time. Wait for something like this to happen again. Take your profits. Wait for it to happen again. And then you could cycle into new skins with that new profit or just buy the same thing back for half the price. So, plenty of options there. Now, gloves are a bit different, and this is kind of where cases come into play. Because gloves, for example, the hedge mazes have gone from $1,800 to a peak of $13,000 in just field tested. And now they're all the way down to $8,300 already, and clearly they have a lot more room they could drop. Now, for me personally, I don't think gloves are going to come back all the way down to this level. And I could be wrong here, but me personally, I just don't see it happening. Part of the reason for this, go away CS20 case, I want to look at the glove case. Part of the reason for this is because the glove case is a lot more expensive, and it very much seems like it could hold these levels. There's way less of them on the market than there was previously. They're like $14 each, and even with like $7,000 gloves, $8,000 hedge mazes, they're going to be worth it to unbox.
This video is sponsored by SkinsMonkey. If you've been looking to trade out your old boring skins for new ones, SkinsMonkey is the place. By clicking the link in the description, you'll get a 35% deposit bonus when depositing with cash and crypto, and up to a free $5 bonus on your first trade. So be sure to click that link. SkinsMonkey also has the freebies tab where they run 24/7 giveaways that are completely free to join with crazy skins. And if you're looking to actually get your hands on some good skins, SkinsMonkey is the quickest way to do it. So be sure to get that free $5 and 35% deposit bonus now, trading your CSGO skins with that link at the top of the description.
Of course, it's kind of hard to tell because it's from a while ago, but they theoretically could come back down to like this $10 range. Of course, this is not a level I'd buy at still, but typically with cases, when we see hype spikes up like this, they don't typically come all the way back down to the level they were at before, once again, because during hype spikes like this, so many people just hold on to the cases, buy and hold on to them, or a lot more people realize they could get them much higher prices and just don't sell them. A lot of them get unboxed as well because of the increased player count and the increased glove price, which actually makes them worth unboxing. Because gloves were like doubling in price during this time period. So despite the glove case being like $30, it was honestly kind of worth it to unbox somehow, like percentage wise. Now, of course, the gloves can come back lower, but I don't think the glove case is going to come all the way back down to this price. I could be wrong, but typically I like to see what level it consolidates at. We've seen stuff like this happen in the past. Like, for example, here's the first hype spike. Went from like 50 something cents to $3, and you could see didn't come all the way back down to like 60 cents. It's still doubled in price. It went to $1.20. Now, I don't think it's still going to fully double in price, but then we saw other hype spikes, big dip, but it only dropped 50 cents, which is about 20%, a bit less even. Then it consolidated even more, big spike up in price. And note, it didn't come back down to these levels again. It's still somewhat higher. This is because people just hold on to these cases, and they get more expensive over time as they're more limited, and people are willing to pay more expensive prices. Now, gloves are a very good item in the CS market. Obviously not at these levels. I'd wait a little bit to buy them, but the main thing I'd be looking for here is for the glove case to start going completely flat in price, which we've actually started, well, not really quite started to see yet. It could definitely drop a few more dollars to maybe 12 bucks. But at those levels, hopefully the gloves bottom out at the same time, and then we see the market just go flat like this for a while, and those are the levels you could buy at. I don't think the gloves are going to come back down another 50% in price because there's very few gloves in the game, and there's just so much demand for them. Obviously, the only reason they would come back down to these levels is probably if CS2 releases new gloves, which is possible. It is a risk you take when buying gloves, but these old gloves in the glove case are super sought after, and I don't think they're going to come back down all the way to these levels. So if you're looking to buy, this might not be worth holding till. Of course, I still think you should wait to buy the dip, see what the glove case starts going sideways for like multiple months on end, and then you could start buying. But that's good for the gloves. Either way, we look at low-tier skins as well. They've had a completely different trend. They're still holding up here. They probably still will. I've covered this in other videos as well. Since the cases are getting so much more expensive, of course, the cheaper skins have to get more expensive as well. And for the most part, they don't go through as horrible of crashes, which is great. And that kind of segues me into something that I want to talk about with cases. I'll start with the Prisma case. Prisma case is a case I haven't covered before because I low-key forgot it existed, and somebody commented on it, and I'm like, well, I should probably talk about this case because it's a very good case. Of course, the knife skins in it are very good, got plenty of Dopplers, and they are only in the Prisma and Prisma 2 cases, similar to the Gamma case, similar to the Spectrum case as well. It's essentially just those cases, but cheaper. It's got some very good skins in it. Of course, not the best knives in the game, but they are very solid. Except the Navajo Talon's pretty decent though. But the thing about these Prisma cases is they're still somewhat cheap. And much like the rest of the things I was talking about in this video, specifically the cases, when the market blows up with cases, a lot of them just tend to consolidate sideways for a while and then just blow up at a later point. These things, you wouldn't be able to tell the market went through a crash because all they did is just go up in price about 20% and go sideways still. If I was looking at a case to buy right now, Prisma cases would definitely be one of them. This is one of those things that you buy and you hold for 3 years and then you sell it. You don't care about the price action that happens in between. You don't care about anything like that because fundamentally these things are great. They have good knives in them. Considering the market just went through a hype spike, that's why they've doubled in price already, and this chart is probably going to look like the glove case, the breakout case, any of those other charts. I just stuttered so many times. Any of those other charts over the long term. 3 cents, sits at this like dollar range for a while, bumps up again, sits at this range for a while, and then blows up completely. Now, you can essentially just buy a Gamma 2 case in the Prisma case. Sure, the Gamma cases probably have better knives with the Gamma Dopplers, but the Prisma cases are still solid as well. Of course, I like to juice up my CS20 cases as well, which have essentially done the same thing as the Prisma cases. Are they going to have a completely different trend? Are they going to blow up more than the Prisma cases? I don't really know, to be honest, and that's kind of the gamble you take, and maybe you should diversify a little bit. It's kind of hard to guess with the CS market. I would say Prisma cases, I mean, they could blow up more since they probably have better knives. Unfortunately, Classic Knife doesn't have a ridiculous amount of demand, but I still think both cases are great options, and definitely the things you could be stocking up on right now instead of just like trying to get beat up in this market. Unless, for me personally, I've got like $3,700 cash in Skinland. Let me show you guys. Since I recently sold my Karambit Doppler on here, and I could show you guys as well, sold it for about $3,500, and I sold a random AK Red Lamb I had as well. So I've got $3,700 ready to buy this dip, essentially, because you could buy skins on here as well. Of course, I'm waiting for like phase 2s and rubies and all that stuff. Those are gloves. I don't want to look at those. But all this stuff to come back down to this level, and then I'll just be buying there with that money. That's exclusively what that money is for. And I practice what I preach, guys. I pretty much knew this was going to come back down to original levels, and we've still got quite a bit of room to crash. So don't be in a rush. I promise, like, the CS market always gives us ridiculously long periods of time to buy when it comes to, like, after crashes. Like, the initial CS2 hype gave us this period of time to buy literally 1 year. And sure, you're going to have to hold your skins for a year, but when the market does inevitably blow up again, you're going to have massive profits. 100% profit in a year is not that bad at all. And you get cool skins in the meantime. So yeah, I hope that covers a few of the missing pieces I've left out in previous videos. Of course, take your time if you want to buy the dip here. We've still got plenty of time. Cases are great for long term. Gloves probably won't come down to their original levels. Maybe up here. I don't really want to risk $5 on a pair of gloves though, but we'll see where it goes sideways. Either way, thank you guys so much for watching. Check out the sponsor with that link at the top of the description, and I'll see you guys next one. Peace.